last time. Then all of a sudden I was live everywhere and I was like, this is not what I meant. Okay. You should be live.
Awesome sauce.
I'm waiting for Facebook to give me the notification. Not quite yet. Guys, if you're in the comments right now, welcome to the For We Are Many podcast. The voice you're hearing right now is the voice of me. I'm one of your hosts, Don Hughes.
Hi.
Joining me today is Trisha. Say good evening, Trisha.
What's up? Welcome, everybody. We are doing a special episode tonight on the IWW.
It's going to be a little different than how we normally do things because, as you can tell, it's just me and Trisha. Rob had to work. Dean had to work. You know, life gets in the way sometimes.
Right.
Things will be all right. Give me just a second to pop on over to at least the For We Are Many Facebook so I can see if we are actually live. 3 watching. Ooh.
All right.
So we already got people on.
Welcome.
Hello. This song is copyrighted.
Still stuck in our heads though.
Yes, indeed. Let me just mute that so there's not a lot of feedback.
Hi, James. Hi, Natalie.
Hey, guys. All right. Let me...
You can scroll to the next slide. We can
show
everybody.
We got? Our Patreon is live. We have a bunch of different tiers. We've talked about it many times. You know, we've got the $1 tier, I think 3 and 5. And then there's towards the bottom,
the Elon Musk level.
Yeah, we've got some really special tiers down there. The Elon Musk and the Jeff Bezos tier.
Yes.
You know, we were talking about it today in the group chat, and I have a new theory. Why I think that if someone were to tell me that Jeff Bezos pays to have like baby foreskins turned into pork rinds so he can sit on top of his gold and eat them, I'd believe it. He's a creepy looking son of a bitch, and he looks like he eats people.
No argument.
Yeah.
He is a creepy son of a bitch.
He really is.
But listen, Elon. And Jeff,
guys.
We won't stop busting your balls. We really won't. Whether you donate or not. We're still going to keep busting your balls.
Yeah.
Just saying. If you should feel so.
But the videos will stop.
Yeah.
The 8-track cassette tapes that I send you guys every day.
The 3 a.m. drunk phone calls.
The knocking on your window.
And breathing heavily on it.
The pictures won't stop.
Drawing hearts in the steam.
Yeah, well, you know. Nah, I'm not gonna.
No.
Anyway.
More likely a dick, not a heart.
Well, upside down, so it's heart shaped up at the top, and then, you know, okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Anywho,
Patreon's live. Honestly, if you guys can afford to, awesome. That would be great. If you can't, it's not a big deal. We appreciate it either way. You're watching this.
Right.
Here's a list of things that you can find us on different platforms. Got rid of that SoundCloud.
Yep.
Our mixtapes weren't fire enough to be on SoundCloud, so
we're only relatively cool kids.
Yeah.
But
anywho, what do we got?
Well, on these other ones. So this is where all you can find us.
And
welcome to our special on the IWW, one big union.
Oh, James, is there a 10 before Elon? Okay, so it goes like 1, 3, 5, 10. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos.
Right. And those links are only for Elon Musk
and Jeff Bezos.
Only. But anywho,
Trisha, take this away for a second so I can see what's happening in the group chat.
Okay. The IWW was the Industrial Workers of the World, members of which are commonly termed Wobblies, which is kind of cute. It combines general unionism with industrial unionism, as it is a general union subdivided between the various industries which employ its members. The philosophy and tactics of the IWW are described as revolutionary industrial unionism, with ties to socialist, syndicalist, and anarchist labor movements. In the 1910s and early 1920s, the IWW achieved many of their short-term goals, particularly in the American West, and cut across traditional guild and union lines to organize workers in a variety of trades and industries. At their peak in August 1917, IWW membership was more than 150,000, with active wings during this era, estimated at 133% per decade. This makes it difficult for historians to state membership totals with any certainty, as workers tended to join the IWW in large numbers for relatively short periods, like during labor strikes and periods of generalized economic distress. Sorry, give me just a moment. Due to several factors, membership declined dramatically in the late 1910s and 1920s. There were conflicts with other labor groups, particularly the American Federation of Labor, the AFL, which regarded the IWW as too radical, while the IWW, in its turn, regarded the AFL as too conservative and for dividing workers on the basis of their crafts. Membership also declined due to government crackdowns on radical anarchist and socialist groups during the first Red Scare after World War I. In Canada, the IWW was outlawed by the federal government by an order of council on September 24th, 1918. That's some bullshit. What the fuck, Canada? Why would you do such a thing? Anyway, probably the most divisive, the most decisive, I had it right the first time, factor in the decline in IWW membership and influence was a 1924 schism in the organization from which the IWW never fully recovered. They promote the concept of one big union, and that contends that all workers should be united as a social class to supplant capitalism and wage labor with industrial democracy. It is known for the wobbly shop model of workplace democracy, in which workers elect their own managers, and other forms of grassroots democracy and self-management are implemented. The IWW does not require its members to work in a represented workplace. Neither does it exclude membership in another labor union. The origin of the nickname Wobblies is uncertain.
I really wonder if they wobbled around. Wobble, wobble, wobble.
Oh my God, Don. Moving on to their founding. Indeed.
The first meeting to plan the IWW was held in Chicago in 1904. The 6 attendees were Clarence Smith, Thomas J. Hardigy of the American, I apologize, I read that wrong. The 6 attendees were Clarence Smith and Thomas J. Hardigy of the American Labor Union, George Estes and W.L. Hall of the United Brotherhood of Railway Employees, Isaac Cowan and the U.S. branch of Amalgamated Society of Engineers, and William E.
Troutman
of the United Brewery Workmen. Eugene Debs, formerly of the American Railway Union, and Charles O. Sherman of the United Metal Workers were involved but were unable to attend the meeting.
The IWW was officially founded in Chicago, Illinois in June 1905. A convention was held of 200 socialists, anarchists, Marxists, primarily members of the Socialist Party of America and Socialist Labor Party of America, and radical trade unionists from all over the United States, mainly the Western Federation of Miners, who strongly opposed the policies of the American Federation of Labor. The IWW opposed the AFL's acceptance of capitalism and its refusal to include unskilled workers in craft unions. Do you want to take?
The convention had taken place. Sorry, guys. I have dyslexia and it really comes out when I'm stressed. Give me a second. Okay. The convention had taken place on June 24th, 1905, and was referred to as the Industrial Congress or the Industrial Union Convention. It would later be known as the first annual convention of the IWW. It later became considered one of the most important events in the history of industrial unionism, which, I mean, I can see why. It's the founding of like the first union and the first real
really leftist one when they're booting people for supporting capitalism. But they aimed to promote worker solidarity in the revolutionary struggle to overthrow the employing class. Its motto was "An injury to one is an injury to all," which is one we very strongly adhere to. Which improved upon the Knights of Labor's creed. An injury to one is the concern of all. And I will point out, Knights of Labor did precede the IWW. However, the IWW took it to another level. You know, they were the first to take more steps further to the left. Anywho, in particular, the IWW was organized because of the belief amongst many unionists, socialists, anarchists, Marxists, and radicals that the AFL not only had failed to effectively organize in the U.S. working class, but it was causing separation rather than unity within the groups of workers by organizing according to narrow craft principles. The Wobblies believed that all workers should organize as a class, a philosophy which is still reflected in the preamble to the current IWW Constitution. And mind you, this is a very Marxist ideal right here. The working class and the employing class have nothing in common. There can be no peace so long as hunger and want are found amongst millions of working people, and the few who make up the employing class have all the good things of life. Between those two classes, a struggle must go on until the workers of the world organize as a class, take possession of the earth and the machinery of production, and abolish the wage system. We find that the centering of the management of industries into fewer and fewer hands makes the trade unions unable to cope with the ever-growing power of the employing class. The trade unions foster a state of affairs which allows one set of workers to be pitted against another set of workers in the industry, thereby helping defeat one another in wage wars. Moreover, the trade unions aid the employing class to mislead the workers into the belief that the working class have interests in common with their employers. Trust me, really don't. These conditions can be changed and the interests of the working class upheld only by an organization formed in such a way that all of its members, in any one industry or in all industries if necessary, cease work wherever a strike or lockout is on in any department thereof, thus making an injury to one an injury to all. Instead of the conservative motto, "a fair day's wage for a fair day's work," we must inscribe our banner the revolutionary watchword abolition of the wage system. It is the historic mission of the working class to do away with capitalism. The army of production must be organized, not only for the everyday struggle with capitalists, but also to carry on production when capitalism shall have been overthrown. By organizing industrially, we are forming the structure of the new society within the shell of the old.
That is powerful stuff. Sorry, guys. I would be way more animated, but I'm doing all the stuff that Rob normally does, which is weird for me.
Right. Learning curve. Oh. Is that? Let me see.
Yes,
It looked like it
because
skipped a page.
son of
Okay.
I skipped the preamble that would have been a lot easier for you to read from here.
That's okay.
Okay.
I managed. All right. Inception. The Wobblies, as they were informally known, differed from other union movements of the time by promotion of industrial unionism, as opposed to the craft unionism of the American Federation of Labor. The IWW emphasized rank and file organization as opposed to empowering leaders who would bargain with employers on behalf of workers. The early IWW's chapters consistently refused to sign contracts, which they believed would restrict workers' abilities to aid each other when called upon. Though never developed in any detail, Wobblies envisioned the general strike as the means by which the wage system would be overthrown and a new economic system ushered in, one which emphasized people over profit, cooperation over competition. One of the IWW's most important contributions to the labor movement and broader push towards social justice was that when founded, it was the only American union to welcome all workers, including women, immigrants, African Americans, and Asians, into the same organization. Many of its early members were immigrants, and some, such as Carlo Tresca, Joe Hill, and Elizabeth Gurley Flynn, rose to prominence in the leadership. Finns formed a sizable portion of the immigrant IWW membership. Conceivably, the number of Finns belonging to the IWW was somewhere between 5 and 10,000. Further, many Swedish immigrants, particularly those blacklisted after the 1909 Swedish general strike, joined the IWW and set up similar cultural institutions around the Scandinavian socialist clubs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
My great grandpa,
Right.
socialist.
Indeed.
Oh yeah. That, by the way, John is only a third generation or second generation American.
Right.
Because grandma was a first generation American. Great grandpa never became an American.
Ah, he moved here but didn't do the citizenship
Yeah, we just
thing?
kept doing his green card until he died.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, grandma
Nice.
did it until he died.
Right on.
He's
Good
buried in Ohio, but like I kind of he didn't like he liked the country enough to stay because his wife and kids were his second wife and kids were here.
Got you. Hey, happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Sorry, guys.
Where did I leave off at now? Anyway, so yeah, the Swedish general strike. They joined the IWW and set up similar cultural institutions. This in turn exerted a political influence on the Swedish labor movement's left that in 1910 formed the syndicalist union SAC, which soon contained a minority seeking to mimic the tactics and strategies of the IWW. One example of the union's commitment to equality was Local 8, a longshoremen's branch in Philadelphia, one of the largest ports in the nation in the World War I era. Led by Ben Fletcher, an African American, Local 8 had more than 5,000 members, the majority of whom were African American, along with more than 1,000 immigrants, primarily Lithuanians and Poles, Irish Americans, and numerous white ethnics.
All right. The next section we're going into, guys. And yes, James, it is a lot different without Rob. Natalie, I appreciate it. I was kind of worried that this would be weird without him, and it is weird, but it's okay. It'll be fine. We'll get through this together, guys.
Indeed.
We're on this adventure together.
Right. Including learning how to manage everything screen sharing wise.
Yeah.
Rob's going to laugh when he watches this and be like, you clumsy shits, but it's okay. He'll understand. Hey, not too long ago, he was just as clumsy as we are with the...
Natalie, I married into an Italian family. I also like Italian culture. I like culture in general. Humans are fascinating.
Indeed.
That's a completely different topic of discussion. And I feel like Rob would be giving us that look right now.
Well, Rob's not here right now.
Yeah.
And he can side
We're
us
free.
later.
We're free. Emily's
well,
listening in,
is,
but she's like face palming in the lab.
It is relatable though, because that's part of the core of this. Is this union brought together all these immigrants from all over the world, all different ethnicities. We were all coming together, to fight for workers' rights and grasping it. There is a major class issue that goes on in this country, and they understood 100 fucking years ago that in order to actually win our rights as workers, we need to come together. We can't keep doing this leftists being split up amongst each other and fighting against each other and shit. Um, we need to all come together if we're going to actually make the changes needed to address a lot of the problems that are root causes, or maybe even side effects later, or both, of systemic racism in this country.
Well, my theory on that. I think it goes back all the way to Rome. It goes back to colonialism,
yeah.
and that gets traced back to Rome, because the Romans had this. It was very Roman to view yourself as better than everybody else around you and constantly compete with everybody else around you. And when the empire fell, it's not like all of the Roman government throughout the fucking empire just disappeared. They were still there. Just Rome got sacked and there was no more emperor or senate, and shit was just
right. There wasn't a power stronghold held in Rome. It was locally isolated then to the smaller portions.
But they were still all Romans.
Right.
I mean,
and they still all had that pervasive fucking attitude too.
Yeah. Oh, we should get back to the IWW probably.
Anywho.
Yeah.
I should.
I'll screen share this. I will screen share.
The divide on
I
political
will screen
and action.
Share. We are live and recording, and Don is screen sharing. We are doing things today. That Sprite was crispy. Anyway,
this
divide on political and direct action. Now, I don't know how to just pause the screen sharing on this slide, so I'm going to stop screen sharing now that you guys see what the title of the next section is. Oh, I can pause the share. That's how I.
Hey, nice.
Okay. Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Rob's gonna laugh at
Figured
us so
it out.
fucking hard.
Figured it out.
The divide.
In
In 1908.
Well, actually, Emily, I misspoke. It was Burger King 7-Up, but same fucking thing, right? Whatever. Still crispy. Anyway,
we ate trash today.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Sorry.
We did. We also drove.
It was either that
5 miles an hour through
Tuttle Marsh.
Yeah.
We lost track of time.
Thanks, James.
Yeah.
Thanks. I'm trying.
Yeah. So we had a choice between cooking real food and starting the show late, or getting fucking Burger King and starting the show on time. So we chose to start the show on time.
Yeah. You're welcome.
This is how much we love you.
We love you.
In 1908, a group led by Daniel De Leon argued that political action through De Leon's Socialist Labor Party, SLP, was the best way to attain the IWW's goals.
Hold on. Say his last name again.
De Leon?
Okay. Go. Continue.
De Leon. I don't know.
De Leon.
You want me to put some stank on it?
Yeah,
I
put
can
some
do that.
fucking stank on it.
Daniel De Leon. Okay,
Thank
let's
you.
make it sound fucking fancy.
Thank you.
The other faction.
God.
Damn it, Don. The other faction, led by Vincent St. John, William Troutman, and Big Bill Haywood, believed that direct action in the form of strikes, propaganda, and boycotts was more likely to accomplish sustainable gains for the working people. They were opposed to arbitration and to political affiliation.
Haywood's faction prevailed, and De Leon and his supporters left the organization, forming their own version of the IWW. The SLP's Workers' International Industrial Union, and it was disbanded in 1924.
Damn. Well, the IWW first attracted attention in Goldfield, Nevada in 1906 and during the press steel car strike of 1909 at McKees Rocks, Pennsylvania. Shout out to our PA homies. What's up? Anyway, further fame was gained later that year when they took their stand on free speech. The town of Spokane, Washington, had outlawed street meetings and arrested Elizabeth Gurley Flynn, a Wobbly organizer, for breaking this ordinance. The response was simple but effective. When a fellow member was arrested for speaking, large numbers of people descended on the location and invited the authorities to arrest all of them until it became too expensive for the town. In Spokane, over 500 people went to jail. 4 people died. The tactic of fighting for free speech to popularize the cause and preserve the right to organize openly was used effectively in Fresno, Aberdeen, and other locations. In San Diego, although there was no particular organizing campaign at stake, vigilantes supported by local officials and powerful businessmen mounted a particularly brutal counteroffensive.
By 1912, the organization had around 25,000 members, concentrating in the Northwest among dock workers, agricultural workers in central states, and in textile and mining areas. Fun fact, there is only one textile mill in the United States now. All other textile mills in the 80s got outsourced to Pakistan and China.
No shit.
Yeah. That's why I hate okay, hate is a strong word. I get upset with our government so much. Pakistan and China, these are people that when I was in Afghanistan, you would hear stories of their special forces dudes coming over the border to, fuck with US troops because hey, it's the Wild West and they got a chance to actually, test themselves against the US who they've been, saber rattling at for quite some time, and we've been saber rattling back. We buy all of our fucking textiles, even shit that's made in America. The textiles are coming from Pakistan and China.
This is true.
That's why I wanted to start that clothing company, actually.
Right.
Because then there would at least be 2 textile mills in the United States.
Who knows? One day.
It'd be some nice difference of variety of industry.
Yeah.
The IWW was involved in over 150 strikes, including the Lawrence Textile Strike of 1912, the Patterson Silk Strike of 1913, and the Mesabi Range of 1916. They were also involved in what became known as the Wheatland Hot Riot on August 3rd, 1913.
And our next segment on this is IWW versus AFL.
Bro, I'm so getting the hang of this. I am... God. I just...
You're loving it. I'm not sure. They can't see you flexing.
I don't care.
Oh, goodness. The Carpenters in Goldfield, Nevada in 1907 is where we will kick this part off. The IWW assumed a prominent role in 1906 and 1907 in the gold mining boomtown of Goldfield, Nevada. At that time, the Western Federation of Miners was still an affiliate of the IWW. The WFM withdrew from the IWW in the summer of 1907. In 1906, the IWW had already become so powerful in Goldfield, though, that it could dictate wages and working conditions.
Jesus Christ. Imagine if workers nowadays had that kind of power. I'm
right?
Sorry to keep derailing this, but like...
Well, no, it's okay.
Right now, in my county in Michigan, since Walmart has moved in, before Walmart moved in, one of the major sources of income for the county was manufacturing. We have a few factories up here that make integral parts for cars for the what we call the big three. When Walmart moved in, they started pushing out all the other little locally owned businesses. And then after a while, they started, because of their prices, and the price that they pay their employees, it started dictating the wages for the county because they became the number one employer of the county.
Right.
And
they dictated that the wages fucking dropped to less than slavery wages,
to the point
for
where
starve.
Like I describe it as working for the company store, because they pay you almost just enough to where you can shop there. It's easier for you to shop there. You get that discount. It's more incentive to shop there. In this county, they've pushed everywhere else out, so you really don't have any other options anyway.
Not very many anyway.
Not very many. There are options, and people are starting to go to those options, but Walmart outcompetes them in pricing. And that's the problem.
So but they've created an environment where people can, in most cases, only afford to shop at Walmart.
Yep. And they've created an environment where even the factories aren't giving raises as fast as they used to. Now that Walmart's moved in, the factories have like slowed down the rate at which they would give you a raise. It used to be after like your first 90 days, you get a $2 raise. After your first year, you get another $1 raise. Now it's after the first 2 years, you might be up $1.
Damn.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Man.
And it started when Walmart started pushing everybody else out and started moving in. It's we're getting off topic. Anyway, resisting IWW domination was the AFL affiliated Carpenters Union. In March 1907, the IWW demanded that the mines deny employment to AFL carpenters, which led mine owners to challenge the IWW. The mine owners banded together and pledged not to employ any IWW members. The mine and business owners of Goldfield staged a lockout, vowing to remain shut until they had broken the power of the IWW. The lockout prompted a split within the Goldfield workforce between conservative and radical union members. The mine owners persuaded the Nevada governor to ask for federal troops, which always seems to go fucking amazing, don't it? Right. Under the protection of federal troops, the mine owners reopened the mines with non-union labor, breaking the influence of the IWW in Goldfield, Nevada.
That's our segue music.
Yeah, that's my impromptu segue music.
Yeah, because sharing music is something we are yet to figure out how to do.
You're right, James. Dollar stores seem to pop up everywhere, and Walmart hasn't killed them, but it's not fair. Dollar stores are built by an eldritch horror which H.P. Lovecraft himself couldn't have even dreamt up. You can drive through the middle of nowhere, the absolute middle of nowhere in Michigan, through the Huron National Forest, and in the dead center, as soon as you feel like you're never going to see anything again, you'll see a dollar store, Dollar General.
Mm-hmm. They're kind of the Walmart of dollar stores, and sadly, a lot of their shit is actually overpriced. One time I lived in the middle of fucking nowhere in Florida. The only thing close by was a dollar store to be able to get groceries from. I was like 15, 20 miles away from the closest real grocery store. And so I was paying overpriced fucking amounts for shitty freezer food. Man, let's be real.
Eldritch horrors,
and a lot of the shit that they are selling cheaply, just imagine how much cheaper they're buying it for, because they're buying that shit in bulk. And
I don't understand their building methods, because no one ever seems to see them go up, and they're in the most just obscure locations. Oh, here's this field. This looks like a great place for a Dollar General.
Right.
I'm pretty sure if we go to Mars, we might find the Dollar General queen. which
The one that keeps
obviously
birthing all of
looks.
them. They just fly out.
I'm pretty sure
land.
she looks like Sigourney Weaver in that Alien movie.
Except dollar stores.
Except
Rip out
dollar
of
stores. Yeah. Continuously. Or that I think it's the second Alien movie where like she's looking at that alien that is like her offspring and it looks human. That one, yeah.
Yeah.
Emily knows. Emily knows. Yeah. See, confirmed by science, everybody.
Right. Anywho, the Haywood trial and the exit of the Western Federation of Miners.
Oh.
Leaders of the Western Federation of Miners, such as Bill Haywood and Vincent St. John, were instrumental in forming the IWW, and the WFM affiliated with the new union organization shortly after the IWW was formed. The WFM became the IWW's mining section. However, many in the rank and file of the WFM were uncomfortable with the open radicalism of the IWW and wanted the WFM to maintain its independence. Schisms between the WFM and IWW had emerged at the annual IWW convention in 1906, when a majority of WFM delegates walked the fuck out.
When WFM executive Big Bill Haywood,
Meow,
George Pettenbone, and Charles Moyer were accused of complicity in the murder of former Idaho Governor Frank Stutenberg. What? The IWW used the case to raise funds and support and paid for legal defense. However, even the not guilty verdicts worked against the IWW because the IWW was deprived of martyrs. At the same time, a large portion of the public remained convinced of the guilt of the accused. The trials caused a bitter split between Haywood and Moyer. The Haywood trial also provoked a reaction from the WFM against violence and radicalism. In the summer of 1907, the WFM withdrew from the IWW. Vincent St. John left the WFM to spend time organizing the IWW.
Bill Haywood, though, for a time remained a member of both organizations. His murder trial had made Haywood a celebrity, and he was in demand as a speaker for the WFM. However, his increasingly radical speeches became more at odds with the WFM, and in April 1908, the WFM announced that the union had ended Haywood's role as a union rep. Haywood left the WFM and devoted all of his time to organizing for the IWW thereafter.
Hell yeah. Big Bill Haywood.
Yeah.
You know, I know nothing about this guy, but I assume he looks like the dude on the Brawny
Yeah,
on
that
the
guy.
Brawny packaging.
Probably.
Wears specifically buffalo red and black shirts and
Yeah.
like oh dude, the guy from Parks and Rec with the fantastic mustache. You know who I'm talking? Nick Offerman. Yeah. Yeah, that's who I'm picturing in my mind. Is
I kind of want to Google a picture of him now and see.
okay. Anyway,
and while you look that up, historian Vernon H. Jensen has asserted that the IWW had a rule or ruin policy, under which it attempted to wreck local unions, which it could not control. So from 1908 to 1921, Jensen and others have written, the IWW attempted to win power in WFM locals, which had once formed the Federation's backbone. When it could not do so, IWW agitators undermined WFM locals, which caused the National Union to shed nearly half its membership.
Bro, this guy's a mob boss. Don't tell me. Look at that.
Oh, damn.
Oh, man. He
Yeah,
at least knows how to use a Tommy gun.
Right. You were way off on your
Ignore all that.
visual.
Ignore that.
No,
Where are
He
we?
does not look like the brawny towel man.
No, he looks like what's
looks
that
like
guy's
he
name?
would,
Babyface.
yeah.
He was one of the famous bank robbers of the 1920s. Babyface Jim something. Mom would know. Mom would know if I go ask her. I might go ask her. I'm gonna go
Okay.
ask her.
Okay.
I'll be back. It's gonna
Anywho.
bug me if I don't.
My goodness.
Wow.
In Scranton, Pennsylvania in 1916. The IWW clashed with the Union Mine Workers in April when the IWW picketed the anthracite mines around Scranton, Pennsylvania, intending by persuasion or by force to keep UMWA members from going to work. The IWW considered the UMWA too reactionary because the United Mine Workers negotiated contracts with the mine owners or fixed time periods, or for fixed time periods. The IWW considered that contracts hindered their revolutionary goals. So, what a contemporary writer pointed out was a complete reversal of their usual policy. UMWA officials called for police to protect Union Mine Workers members who wished to cross the picket lines. The Pennsylvania State Police arrived in force, prevented picket line violence, and allowed the UMWA members to peacefully pass through the IWW picket lines. Between 1915 and 1917, the IWW's Agricultural Workers Organization, or AWO, organized more than 100,000 migratory farm workers throughout the Midwest and Western United States, often signing up and organizing members in the field, in rail yards, and in hobo jungles. During this time, the IWW members became synonymous with the hobo riding the rails. Migratory farm workers could scarcely afford any other means of transportation to get to the next job site. Railroad boxcars, called side door coaches by the hobos, were frequently plastered with silent agitators from the IWW. Building on the success of the AWO, the IWW's Lumber Workers Industrial Union used similar tactics to organize lumberjacks and other timber workers, both in the Deep South and in the Pacific Northwest of the United States and Canada between 1917 and 1924. The IWW lumber strike of 1917 led to the 8-hour day. So these guys right here, let that register. Their strike in 1917 is precisely what led to the 8-hour day. This put an end to employers being able to completely exploit you and force you to work excessively long shifts where you would never have a life, okay? And this same strike vastly improved working conditions in the Pacific Northwest. Though many, mid-century historians would give credit to the U.S. government and forward-thinking lumber magnates for agreeing to such reforms, it was the IWW strike that forced these concessions.
From 1913 through the mid-1930s, the IWW's Marine Transport Workers Industrial Union proved a force to be reckoned with and competed with AFL unions for ascendance in the industry. Given the union's commitment to international solidarity, its efforts and successes in the field came as no surprise. The Local 8 of the Marine Transport Workers was led by Ben Fletcher, who organized predominantly African-American longshoremen on the Philadelphia and Baltimore waterfronts. But other leaders included the Swiss immigrant Walter Neff, Jack Walsh, E.F. Dorey, and the Spanish sailor Manuel Rey. The IWW also had a presence among waterfront workers in Boston, New York, New Orleans, Houston, San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Eureka, Portland, Tacoma, Seattle, Vancouver, as well as in ports in the Caribbean, Mexico, South America, Australia, New Zealand, Germany, and other nations. The IWW members played a role in the 1934 San Francisco General Strike and other organizing efforts by rank and filers with the International Longshoremen's Association up and down the West Coast.
Wobblies also played a role in the sit-down strikes and other organizing efforts by the United Auto Workers in the 1930s, particularly in Detroit, though they never established a strong union presence there. Where the IWW did win strikes, such as in Lawrence, they often found it too hard to hold on to their gains. The IWW of 1912 disdained collective bargaining agreements and preached instead the need for constant struggle against the boss on the shop floor. It proved difficult, however, to maintain that sort of revolutionary enthusiasm against employers. In Lawrence, the IWW lost nearly all of its membership in the years after the strike, as the employers wore down their employees' resistance and eliminated many of the strongest union supporters. In 1938, the IWW voted to allow contracts with employers so long as they would not undermine any strike.
Real quick, in the comments section, James, Natalie, I am paying attention to your conversation here, and yeah, it does seem like a never-ending cycle of bye-bye small guy.
Right. Sadly,
it sucks.
It's like, man, that's their entire goal.
It sucks, and the one thing that we can do to reverse that is to start buying shit locally. Stop buying fucking. I'm not sure what to do about clothes. Honestly, I don't know anybody that makes clothing anymore.
I wish I did.
Maybe we should. I know people that like print T-shirts, but they're buying the T-shirts from somewhere else.
Right. Not necessarily producing those in-house here, but at least we could order stuff that's made here. But anywho.
Who's it?
Buy local. Start your own businesses.
Government suppression. They're always doing it.
Right?
This fucking
always
bastards.
An important facet of pretty much any fucking issue, societal issue that we discuss. There's always a factor of motherfucking government suppression.
All right, so peep this. Follow me if you will. The IWW's efforts were met with unparalleled resistance from federal, state, and local governments in America. Go figure. From company management and labor spies, and from groups of citizens functioning as vigilantes. In 1914, Wobbly Joe Hill. What? Born Joel Haglund. Okay, well, I know some Haglunds up here. Yeah, didn't it? I kind of thought that too, Emily. No shit, kind of thought that too. Bowser from Super Mario 64 right before you battle him. Yep. Where was I? Wobbly Joe. Yeah, Wobbly Joe Hill was accused of murder in Utah. Of course he was. And on what many regarded as flimsy evidence, was executed in 1915. On November 5th, 1916, at Everett, Washington, a group of deputized businessmen led by Sheriff Donald McRae. People got to stop using this name, man. My name is... You know the Josh fight that happened? That's what we're going to do. I'm going to fight Donald Trump and all the other Donalds. Kick their asses and take my name. Yeah, I'll be the only one. Anyway, Sheriff Donald McRae. No, I'm changing that. Sheriff Dick Bag McRae attacked Wobblies on the steamer Verona, killing at least 5 Union members. 6 more were never accounted for and probably were lost in the Puget Sound.
Just another day at work.
Yeah. 2 members of the police force, one a regular officer and another a deputized citizen from the National Guard Reserve, were killed. Probably by friendly fire. At least 5 Everett citizens were wounded. Why do the cops never, know how to shoot, man?
I don't know.
In the movies, it's the bad guys that don't know how to shoot. You ever notice that? It's like the stormtroopers don't know how to shoot.
Right.
However, I have heard the argument that because Leia and Luke and Han and Chewie were high-value targets, they were intentionally missing them and trying to suppress their movement in an attempt to capture them because... Anyway, that's Star Wars.
Not the case here. Though.
Star Wars intricacies that we don't need to go to on this podcast. That'll be Don Hughes After Dark.
On the third ice.
That's when I put my put the mic real close to my face and drop the voice down an octave.
Right. Those podcasts don't happen as frequently, but if you're interested interested in seeing just how fucking weird we really get, check out Third Eye Spies.
It'll
Anyway.
happen eventually. Anyway, many IWW members opposed United States participation in World War I. The organization passed a resolution against the war at its convention in November 1916. This echoed the view expressed at the IWW's founding convention that war represents struggles among capitalists in which rich become richer and the working poor all too often die at the hands of other workers. An IWW newspaper, The Industrial Worker, wrote just before the U.S. declaration of war, quote, "Capitalists of America, we will fight against you, not for you. There is not a power in the world that can make the working class fight if they refuse," end quote. Yet when a declaration of war was passed by the U.S. Congress in April 1917, the IWW's General Secretary Treasurer, Big Bill Haywood, became determined that the organization should adopt a low profile in order to avoid perceived threats to its existence. Printing of anti-war stickers was discontinued. Stockpiles of existing anti-war documents were put into storage, and anti-war propagandizing ceased as official Union policy.
That's sad, because they could have had a very positive impact there if they had stuck to that facet of, you know, that being part of their activism.
True.
But getting even deeper into the suppression, after much debate on the General Executive Board, with Haywood advocating a low profile and GEB member Frank Little championing continued agitation, Ralph Chaplin broke a compromise agreement. A statement was issued that denounced the war, but IWW members were advised to channel their opposition through the legal mechanisms of conscription. They were advised to register for the draft, marking their claims for exemption. IWW opposed to war. In spite of the IWW moderating its vocal opposition, the IWW's anti-war stance made it highly unpopular. Frank Little, the IWW's most outspoken war opponent, was lynched in, I don't know if this is pronounced Butte or Butte, Montana.
Butte.
Well, let's call it Butte, because fuck you guys for lynching him. Well, not you guys, but the ones that were there then in 1917, who actually did it.
You people who died 100+ years ago, fuck you.
Right. But that was just 4 months after the war had even been declared. During World War I, the U.S. government moved strongly against the IWW. On September 5th, 1917, U.S. Department of Justice agents made simultaneous raids on dozens of IWW meeting halls across the country. Minutes books, correspondence, mailing lists, and publications were seized, with the U.S. Department of Justice removing 5 tons of material from the IWW's general office in Chicago alone. The seized material was scoured for possible violations of the Espionage Act of 1917 and other laws, with a view to future prosecution of the organization's leaders, organizers, and key activists.
Based in large measure on the documents seized September 5th, 166 IWW leaders were indicated by federal grand indicted. Indicted? That's how you spell indicted?
I'm not sure
INDICT.
where you're at on the page. I just am assuming from context.
INDICTED.
Yes, indicted.
Wow. Again, guys, dyslexia, special ed because of No Child Left Behind. It's a whole bunch of shit. I could make excuses all day. Anyway, indicted by federal grand jury in Chicago for conspiring to hinder the draft, encouraging desertion, and intimidating others in connection with labor disputes. Under the new Espionage Act, 101 went on trial en masse before Judge Kenshaw Mountain Landis. Bro, I wish my middle name was Mountain.
That'd be dope.
Donald Mountain. Could just go by Mountain. Yeah. Anyway, in 1918, their lawyer was George Vanderveer of Seattle. They were all convicted, including those who had not been members of the Union for years, and given prison terms of up to 20 years, sentenced to prison by Judge Landis, and released on bail. Big Bill Haywood fled to the Russian Soviet Federative, so he fled to the USSR.
Where he remained until his death.
Where he remained until his death. How bad does America gotta be for somebody to fucking defect to Russia? Bro.
Well, I mean, at that point in time, that was before.
Oh yeah, that was
things
before
had really
Stalin.
collapsed.
Yeah,
that was before Stalin. Those were Lenin years. So
okay,
things were going good then.
And things were all right.
You know,
things I wouldn't say
they were
good.
going much.
They were all
They
right.
were improving from what they had been under the monarchy.
Yeah, for sure.
So they were on an upward climb there at that point in time. It wasn't until Lenin died and Stalin fucked everything up that everything turned authoritarian, which is another problem we've discussed many times and will continue to discuss, because government suppression is a fucking problem. Yeah. Authoritarianism is a fucking problem.
I don't care if you call yourselves communist, capitalist, fascist, whatever. If you're authoritarian, you're a bitch. Right.
And regardless of financial system in place, you can end up with authoritarianism.
Mm-hmm.
You can have the opposite end of that, of, egalitarianism. But right now, okay, like people here in the United States, for example, whose arguments against socialism and communism boil down to authoritarianism, please start to recognize the difference there between a social system being engaged by the government, such as authoritarianism, versus a financial system, because the two are independent of each other. You can have authoritarianism with any of them and have it fuck everything up.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't even be a political thing. It's an ethical thing.
Yeah.
Anywho,
I don't remember where the fuck we were. Until his death. Page. Okay, next page.
The suppression continues.
Aha.
In 1917, during an incident known as the Tulsa Outrage, a group of black-robed Knights of Liberty tarred and feathered 17 members of the IWW in Oklahoma. The attack was cited as revenge for the Green Corn Rebellion, a preemptive attack caused by fear of an impending attack on the oil fields, and as punishment for not supporting the war effort. The IWW members had been turned over to the Knights of Liberty by local authorities after they were beaten, arrested at their headquarters, and convicted of the crime of vagrancy. 5 other men who testified in defense of the Wobblies were also fined by the court and subjected to the same torture and humiliations at the hands of the Knights of Liberty. In 1919, an Armistice Day parade by the American Legion in Centralia, Washington, turned into a fight between Legionnaires and IWW members, in which 4 Legionnaires and a Centralia deputy sheriff were shot dead. Which side initiated the violence of the Centralia massacre is disputed. A number of IWWs were arrested, one of whom Wesley Everest, was lynched by a mob that night. Members of the IWW were prosecuted under various state and federal laws, and the 1920 Palmer raid singled out the foreign-born members of the organization. So therein came systemic racism to play its fucking card again. And
this weed tastes fucking good, man.
Gonna pause for the cause here. Smoke them if you got them.
Yep. Shout out to the states that are legalizing right now. We are almost the majority, guys. Hey, Rob's
here. Hi,
Fidel
Rob.
Castro looking motherfucker.
Goodness, that weed does taste good.
Right? Again, shout out to my boy who grew this. I'm not gonna say your name, but you know. You know
who you are. You got a green thumb.
Organizational schism and beyond. Oh, wait a minute. Organizational schism and beyond.
That was beautiful.
Better?
The IWW quickly recovered from the setbacks of 1919 and 1920, with membership peaking in 1923. 58,300 estimated by dues paid per capita, though membership was likely somewhat higher as the union tolerated delinquent members. But recurring internal debates, especially between those who sought either to centralize or decentralize the organization, ultimately brought about the IWW's 1924 schism.
At the beginning of the 1949 Smith Act trials, FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, who he's a disappointment in general, but he was disappointed when prosecutors indicted fewer members than he had hoped. And recalling the arrests and convictions of over 100 IWW leaders in 1917, complained to the Justice Department, stating, quote, "The IWW was crushed and never revived. Similar action at this time would have been as effective against the Communist Party." I don't like this guy, guys. I really don't like this guy. He had prior knowledge. About the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and he accused the dude that brought him that knowledge of a bunch of shit, and just completely ignored it. He's a fucking idiot. Anyway, moving on. J. Edgar Hoover's a bitch. Hope he's rotting in his grave right now. Post WW NAM activity.
WW NAM.
Yep.
That's WW2. WW NAM was,
oh yeah, that's sorry guys.
So much later. But anyway, after World War II, after the passage of the Taft-Hartley Act in 1946 by Congress, which called for the removal of communist union leadership, which, how is that even fucking constitutional? But the IWW experienced yet another loss of membership as differences of opinion occurred over how to respond to the challenge. Kidding me? In 1949, U.S. Attorney General Tom C. Clark placed the IWW on the Attorney General's list of subversive organizations in the category of, and I quote, organizations seeking to change the government by unconstitutional means under Executive Order 9835.
Hold on. Organizations seeking to change the government by unconstitutional means under Executive Order 9835.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. You heard that right.
Okay.
Yeah. Which offered no means of appeal, mind you, and excluded all IWW members from federal employment and federally subsidized housing programs. This order was revoked by
another unconstitutional executive order
10450 in 1953.
Oh God, I hate this place. At this time, the Cleveland Local of Metal and Machinery Workers Industrial Union was the strongest IWW branch in the United States. Leading figures such as Frank Cedarval, that's a cool name, who had helped build the branch up for over 10 years, were concerned about the possibility of raiding from AFL-CIO unions if the IWW had its legal status as a union revoked. In 1950, Cedarval led the 1,500-member national organization to split from the IWW, as the Lumber Workers Industrial Union had almost 30 years earlier. Unfortunately for Frank's union, Machinery Workers Industrial Union, this act would not save it. Despite its brief affiliation with the Congress of Industrial Organizations, it would face serious raiding from AFL and CIO and would be defunct by the late 50s, less than 10 years after separating from the IWW.
The loss of the MMWIU at the time of the IWW's largest industrial union was almost a death blow to the IWW. The union's membership fell to its lowest level in the 50s during the Second Red Scare, and by 1955, the union's 50th anniversary, it was near extinction, though it still appeared on government lists of communist-led groups. You know, got to keep them blacklisted, even
Oh yeah, those
even when
fucking
they barely fucking
commies,
exist
man.
anymore.
Those fucking
You know?
commies.
But there's still a few hangers on.
Oh, but wait,
this shit.
but
You ready
wait,
for it?
but
Are
wait,
you ready
there's
for
more.
it?
Woo!
1960s rejuvenation.
No. Is that
It
the
was pretty
70s?
dope.
I think that's like 1970s, early 80s, like cop drama
Yeah, you
music.
keep jumping too
Sorry.
forward in time. That's okay.
Time's a
It's all
human
good.
construct. You humans, I swear.
Anyhow, so in the 1960s, with the civil rights movement, anti-war protests, and various university student movements, this brought new life to the IWW, albeit with many fewer new members than the great organizing drives of the early part of the 20th century, but it still brought them some.
Yeah.
The first signs of new life for the IWW in the 1960s would be organizing efforts amongst students in San Francisco and Berkeley, which were hotbeds of student radicalism at the time.
Oh, radical students,
Yes.
man. Fucking
Precisely.
radical, bruh.
Yes. This targeting of students would result in a Bay Area branch of the Union with over 100 members in 1964, almost as many as the Union's total membership in 1961. Yeah, they were that close. That fucking close. Wobblies, old and new, would unite for one more free speech fight. University students to join, Berkeley's free speech movement. Riding on this high, the decision in 1967 would allow college and university students to join the Education Workers Industrial Union as full members, spurred campaigns in 1968 at the University of Waterloo in Ontario, the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. Dude, fist in the air, because go blue, because
oh wait, yeah, go
my
blue,
alma mater.
go blue. Ooh. Sorry, I thought it.
You
state.
almost went
I thought
state.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway,
no, not MSU. U of M.
The IWW would send representatives to students for a Democratic Society conventions in 1967. You guys will remember them. We watched a movie recently with the students for a Democratic Society as members of that movie.
The Chicago 7.
Yeah. Anyway, 1968 and 1969. Nice. And as the SDS collapsed into infighting, the IWW would gain members who were fleeing this discord. These changes would have a profound effect on the Union, which by 1972 would have 67% of its members under the age of 30, with a total of nearly 500 members.
Indeed. The IWW's links to the 60s counterculture led to organizing campaigns at counterculture businesses, as well as a wave of over 24 co-ops affiliating with the IWW under its wobbly shop model in the 60s to the 80s.
I wonder if they had anything to do with like
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
No. I was gonna say Woodstock, but all right, man.
Woodstock could.
I don't even know what the fuck you just said. You could have just cast a spell on me.
You're
or
too
swore
young
at
to
me.
remember the Weebles. They were toys that would bob around. They would wobble every which way, but they would never fall down.
I got that from the jingle.
The Weebles wobble, but they won't fall down.
Okay.
Yeah.
You learned something new.
I guess it applies to the Wobblies
And
too.
now you know. Rob,
right.
put that in post.
You know.
Rob's gonna put that in post.
Yeah. Have it fly past his face.
Right there. There. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways.
Guys,
I'm so sorry you got to deal with us.
Weebles wobble. They never fall down. Seems to be true for these guys too. Anywho, these businesses were primarily and printing, publishing, food distribution, from underground newspapers, radical print shops, community co-op grocery stores. Some of the printing and publishing industry co-ops and job shops included Black and Red in Detroit, the Glad Day Press in New York, RPM Press in Michigan, New Media Graphics from Ohio, Babylon Print from Wisconsin, Hill Press from Illinois, Lakeside from Madison, Wisconsin, Harbinger out of Columbia, South Carolina, Easttown Printing in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is where the IWW negotiated a contract in 1978, and La Presse Populaire in Montreal. Indeed. This close affiliation with radical publishers and printing houses sometimes led to the legal difficulties for the union, such as when La Presse Populaire was shut down in 1970 by provincial police for publishing pro-FLQ materials, which were banned at the time under an official censorship law. Probably that one that we referenced earlier.
Maybe, but that's up in they were under the Queen at the time, because didn't they get like actual sovereignty in like the 80s or some shit?
I don't know. I'd have to Google it.
Okay, whatever.
I don't know.
I ain't worried about it.
In 1970, the San Diego, California street journal El Barrio became an official IWW shop. In 71, its office was attacked by an organization calling itself the Minutemen. And I bet, wonder how long they lasted. Ha! Anyway, IWW member Ricardo Gonzalez was indicted for criminal syndicalism along with 2 members of the Brown Berets. Bullshit.
Anywho's it.
These ties to the anti-authoritarian and radical artistic and literary currents would link the IWW even more heavily to the 60s counterculture, exemplified by the publication in Chicago in the 1960s of Rebel Worker by the surrealists Franklin and Penelope Rosemont. One edition was published in London with Charles Radcliffe, who went on to become involved with the Situationists International. By the 1980s, the Rebel Worker was being published as an official organ, again, from the IWW's headquarters in Chicago, and the New York area was publishing a newsletter as well.
Okay. Sorry. Had to get caught up. Invigorated by the arrival of enthusiastic new members, such as Don was just pretending to be invigorated by the arrival of pretend enthusiasm. Sorry. The IWW began... Wait, that was bullshit. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to break the ice.
Right.
Keep it humorous and light. All right, where was I? The IWW began a wave of organizing drives. These largely took a regional form, and they, as well as the union's overall membership, concentrated in Portland, Chicago, Ann Arbor, and throughout the state of California, which when combined accounted for over half of union drives from 1970 to 1979. In Portland, Oregon, the IWW led campaigns at Winter Products, a brass plating plant. Sorry, it was a brass planting plant in my brain for a minute there. In 1972. At a local Winchell's Donuts, where a strike was waged and lost, and at the Albania daycare, where key union demands were won, including the firing of the director of the daycare, of healthcare workers at West Side School and Portland Medical Center, and of agricultural workers in 1974.
Organizing efforts led to a growth in membership, but repeated loss of strikes and organizing campaigns would anticipate the decline of the Portland branch after the mid-70s, a stagnancy period which would last until the 90s. In California, union activists were based in Santa Cruz, where in 1977, the IWW engaged in one of its most ambitious campaigns of the 70s, an attempt in 1977 to organize 3,000 workers hired under the Comprehensive Employment and Training Act, or CETA, in Santa Cruz County. The campaign led to pay raises, the implementation of a grievance procedure, medical and dental coverage, but the union failed to maintain its foothold. And in 1982, the CETA program would be replaced by the Job Training Partnership Act. The IWW would win some lasting victories in Santa Cruz, however, with successful campaigns at the Janus Alcohol Recovery Center, the Santa Cruz Law Center, Project Hope, and the Santa Cruz Community Switchboard.
Elsewhere in California, the IWW was active in Long Beach in 1972, where it organized workers at International Wood Products and Park International Corporation, a manufacturer of plastic swimming pool filters. Not what I thought they were going to manufacture. And went on strike after the firing of one worker for union-related activities. Finally, in San Francisco, the IWW ran campaigns for radio station and food service workers.
Did you know in Chicago, the IWW was an early opponent of so-called urban renewal programs and supported the creation of the Chicago People's Park in 1969.
I like how you asked me that because you know for sure that I didn't fucking know that. I was reading it along with you. They can hear us. I know they can hear us.
Hi
guys.
We banter.
Yeah.
You know this.
Anyway.
The Chicago branch also ran citywide campaigns for healthcare, food service, entertainment, construction, and metal workers. And its success with the latter led an attempt to revive the National Metal and Machinery Workers Industrial Union, which 20 years earlier, remember, had been a major component of the union.
I want to know who's sad reacting our banter. Come on, guys. Metal worker organizing would largely end in 1978 after a failed strike at Mid-American Metal in Verdun, Illinois. The IWW also became one of the first unions to try to organize fast food workers with an organizing campaign at a local McDonald's in 1973. God, imagine what it would have been like if they would have unionized
then.
Emily, right. I understand doing it to be an ass. I got it. Thanks for the love. Yeah, but just imagine if they had successfully unionized fast food workers in 73.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
That would have been
The
great.
IWW also built on its existing presence in Ann Arbor, which had existed since student organizing began at the University of Michigan, to launch an organizing campaign at the university cellar, a college bookstore. It's still there. The union won National Labor Relations Board certification there in 1979 following a strike, and the store would become a strong job shop for the union until it closed in 86. I apologize. I misspoke. I thought I knew Ann Arbor better than that. I thought that place was still there. Anyway, the union launched a similar campaign at another local bookstore, Charing Cross Books, but was unable to maintain its foothold there despite reaching a settlement with management.
Cool.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. In the late 70s, the IWW came to regional prominence in entertainment industry organizing, with an entertainment workers organizing committee being founded in Chicago in 1976, followed by campaigns organizing musicians in Cleveland in 77 and Ann Arbor in 78. The Chicago committee pushed a model contract which was distributed to musicians in the hopes of raising industry standards, as well as maintaining an active phone line for booking information, which is kind of dope. IWW musicians such as Utah Phillips, Faith Petrick, Bob Bovey, and Jim Ringer also toured and promoted the union, and in 87, an anthology album, Rebel Voices, was released.
You know, Mom's probably listened to a few of their songs.
Probably.
I've probably
I wouldn't doubt it.
Listened to them.
I would not be surprised if Mom has some of their vinyl out there.
Oh, no. I know all the vinyl Mom's got out there.
Ah.
I know that by heart because I organize it.
And that brings us into the 90s.
The 90s till now. the 90s until now. It's been some bleak years. It's been some bleak years, man. I'm
Indeed.
30. I feel like I'm 100. Okay.
I'm 39. I've felt 80 since I was 18.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
In the 90s,
Part of that.
the IWW was involved in many labor struggles and free speech fights, including Redwood Summer and the picketing of the Neptune Jade in the port of Oakland in 97, which I didn't actually hear about until recently.
Me neither.
Yeah. In 96, the IWW launched an organizing drive against Borders Books in Philadelphia. In March, the union lost a certification vote by a narrow margin, but continued to organize. In June, IWW member Miriam Freed was fired.
Say that 7 times.
Yeah. And fired on trumped up charges, and a national boycott of Borders was launched in response. IWW members picketed at Borders stores nationwide, including Ann Arbor, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Miami, Chicago, Palo Alto, Portland. There's
both
2 of
Oregon
them.
and Maine.
Yeah, Portland, Oregon, and Portland, Maine. Boston, Philly, Albany, Richmond, St. Louis, Los Angeles, and other cities. This was followed up by a National Day of Action in 97, where Borders stores were again picketed nationwide, and a second organizing campaign in London, England.
Also in 96, the IWW began organizing at Warehouse Music in El Cerrito, California. And that is not spelled how you would think it would, like, a storage warehouse. It is spelled W-H-E-R-E, like where you are. So that's kind of unique. Anyway, the campaign continued until 97, when management fired 2 organizers and laid off over half of the employees, as well as reducing the hours of known union members. This directly affected the NLRB certification vote, which followed, where the IWW lost over 2-1.
James, just to address you in the comments here.
Yes,
the vanilla ice ears. However, I will point out
the steps in the side of your hair.
Yeah, I will point out
shit to your eyebrows.
He apologized for all of it. The song, the pants, the attitude, all of it. I don't think he should apologize for the pants. I, in fact, have a pair of harem pants and they're comfy as hell.
But if you're going to apologize for something, it means that you're not going to do it again. At least if you're sincere in that apology. An apology only means something if it comes with a change in behavior. And while he might have changed the style, he tried to bring Ice Ice Baby back again. So I don't accept his apology unless it came after the second version. Okay.
It came very recently.
Then maybe change his fucking ways.
He did a thing on MTV before they finally stopped doing things, and was like, listen, I'm sorry about all of it. The hair, the pants, the music, all of it. I'm sorry. He owes money every time it gets played.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Damn. Sorry, don't mean to laugh. It just sucks to be in a fucking contract like that. Why would you sign that?
He didn't. He got sued by fucking Queen.
Oh. See, I haven't really paid much attention. I've just had other people show me the shit that he's put out in the last few years and make me cringe.
No. His argument for Ice Ice Baby was, I didn't steal their beat. Their beat goes da na 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 na, and my beat goes da na 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 na. So anyway, moving on.
Go Queen. I fucking love Queen.
Pressure.
And I'm so glad that they fucking put the smack down on him. We were not done with that page. What were you doing?
Under pressure. I don't know.
I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. That's okay. It's the terror of knowing what this world is about. Watching some good friends scream, let me out.
Oh my god.
Sorry, guys. I promise you there is a reason you're being subjected to this bullshit. I promise you. I promise you, there is an actual fucking reason for this. Your
There is.
boy fucked up.
Okay, just had to grab that page again. Okay, so in the 1990s, the IWW was involved in many labor struggles and free speech fights, including Redwood Summer and the picketing of Neptune Jade in the port of Oakland in late 97.
Okay, so you guys don't
that's-
need to see the slides that we're reading to you. So that's the thing. Anyway.
And oh no, we did.
We just read
We
that.
just
I'm
covered
just an idiot.
that. Yep,
And clicked
go-
on things. Bam!
Next page. There we
Oh!
go. That brings us to early 2000s.
That would be the Black Eyed Peas years.
Yes,
You know, Fergalicious and whatnot.
absolutely. And for those of us who enjoyed underground, there was a lot of really good dope ass fucking dance music. I still have CDs,
Yeah.
burned ones.
Chubbawamba. Oh man. I mean, they're not underground or anything even related to what we were just talking about.
But they were there then.
That's a
too.
word. That's a word, and it existed. They
did.
thumped tubs.
They did.
Apparently,
They did. Anyway, in the early 2000s, which I remember both quite well and somewhat vaguely,
yes.
the IWW organized Stone Mountain and Daughter Fabrics, a fabric shop in Berkeley, California. The shop continues to remain an IWW organized shop. The city of Berkeley's recycling is picked up, sorted, processed, and sent out all through 2 different IWW organized enterprises. In 2003, the IWW began organizing street people and other non-traditional occupations with the formation of the Ottawa Panhandlers Union. A year later, the Panhandlers Union led the strike by the homeless, and negotiations with the city resulted in the city government promising to fund a newspaper written and sold by the homeless. Fuck yes. Between 2003 and 2006, the IWW organized unions at food co-ops in Seattle and in Pittsburgh too. The IWW represents administrative and maintenance workers under contract in Seattle, while the one in Pittsburgh lost 22-21 in a NLRB election, only to have the results invalidated in late 2006 based on management's behavior before the election.
In 2004, an IWW union was organized in a New York City Starbucks. In 2006, the IWW continued efforts at Starbucks by organizing several Chicago area shops. In Chicago, the IWW began an effort to organize bicycle messengers with some success. In September 2004, IWW organized short-haul truck drivers in Stockton, California, walked off their jobs and went on strike. Nearly all demands were met. Despite early victories in Stockton, the truck driver union ceased existing in mid-2005.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Truck drivers need to unionize.
And
too.
yes, Natalie, we are talking Fergie. We are talking Fergie right now.
Yeah, mama.
Fergalicious.
That's what's up.
Fergal.
In New York City, the IWW has been organizing immigrant foodstuffs workers since 2005. That summer, workers from Handy Fat Trading joined the IWW and were soon followed by workers from 4 more warehouses. Spelled how warehouses is supposed to be spelled.
Listen, we didn't help out with any of this. Don't hit him with the fucking grammar police stuff, man.
No, that wasn't him misspelling something. That was the name of the company was spelled
warehouse,
but with WHERE.
Oh,
They were being creative with their name.
So would it be like on a full moon it turns into a what is it on not a full moon?
A warehouse wolf? Maybe.
No, it'd just be a regular house, and then on a full moon, it's like, oh no, and
it's the warehouse. But that's WERE. That is a grammar error. No, where is in like where you're at. No, they were being creative with the name. It's too bad they were douches to their employees, though.
That sucks.
But
where were we?
Just making bad jokes.
Where were we?
Workers at these actual warehouses made gains such as receiving the minimum wage and being paid overtime. In 06, the IWW moved its headquarters to Cincinnati, Ohio, and in 2010, headquarters was moved back to Chicago.
Well,
Don't
yeah.
know.
Listen, I'm not going to
Shit
speculate, but I've been to Ohio.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say.
We can just leave it at that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for you, Ohio. Go Blue. Also in 2006, the IWW Bay Area branch organized the landmark Shattuck Cinemas. The union has been negotiating for a contract and hopes to gain one through workplace democracy and organizing directly and taking action when necessary. In May 2007, the NYC warehouse workers came together with the Starbucks Workers Union to form the Food and Allied Workers Union IU 460/640. In the summer of 2007, the IWW organized workers at 2 new warehouses, Flom Appetizing, a kosher food distributor, and Wild Edibles, a seafood company. Over the course of 2007 to 2008, workers at both shops were illegally terminated for their union activity. In 2008, the workers at Wild Edibles actively fought to get their jobs back and to secure overtime pay owed to them by the boss. In a workplace justice campaign called Focus on the Food Chain, carried out jointly with Brand Workers International, the IWW workers won settlements against employers, including Pure Pack, Flom Appetizing, and Wild Edibles. Fucking solidarity, y'all. Hell yeah.
Besides IWW's traditional practice of organizing industrially, the union has been open to new methods such as organizing geographically. For instance, seeking to organize retail workers in a certain business district, as in Philly. The union has also participated in such worker-related issues as protesting involvement in the war in Iraq, opposing sweatshops, and supporting a boycott of Coca-Cola, which I really like. What, did you see that meme? Donald Trump Jr. being like, "Wait a minute, we're boycotting Coke now," and he looks all sweaty, like he's been on Coke for a couple of days.
No, I did not.
Oh
but
man,
it
I'll
makes
send
sense.
it. I'll send it later. It's beautiful.
I need a copy of that.
I'll send it for
I
redistribution.
definitely do.
Okay, I was
This
making
meme shall
sure
be
that wasn't the
seized.
group chat. I thought Rob was like yelling at us, like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Putting out state secrets like memes about the Trumps
Anyway,
and their Coke habits."
it's not a secret.
Anyway, where were we?
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. For the company's
Not
support
cocaine.
of the suppression of workers' rights in Colombia.
Yes, in Colombia.
Okay.
Yes.
Take over, Trisha.
Indeed.
Just take over.
On July 5th, 2008, the Grand Rapids, Michigan Starbucks Workers Union and CNT AIT in Seville, Spain, organized a global day of action against alleged Starbucks union busting. In particular, the firing of 2 union members in Grand Rapids and Seville. According to the Grand Rapids Starbucks Workers Union website, pickets were held in several dozen cities in more than a dozen countries. In early 2011, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker announced a budget bill which the IWW held would effectively outlaw unions for state or municipal workers. In response, there was an emergency meeting of the Midwestern IWW member organizations. The participants decided that organizing a general strike was an absolute priority. IWW members presented a proposal at a meeting of South Central Federation of Labor, which would endorse a general strike and create an ad hoc committee to instruct affiliated locals in preparations for the general strike. The IWW proposal, passed nearly unanimously. The Madison branch made an international appeal translating various materials concerning the strike into Arabic, French, Spanish, Italian, and Portuguese. Additionally, an appeal was made to European unions, CNT in Spain, CGT in Spain, and CGT in France. to send organizers to Madison who could present their experience of general strikes at union meetings and help organize the strike in other ways. The CNT of France sent letters of solidarity to the IWW. This was considered the largest and most successful intervention in a working class struggle that the IWW has undertaken since the 30s. In the aftermath, the strike was said to be, and I quote, the general strike that didn't happen, end quote, because eventually ongoing efforts at industrial action were completely overwhelmed by the recall effort against the governor during the crisis.
I was going to ask about how I didn't know about this going on, but then I saw the date, and I was
You were a little busy.
I was either still in Afghanistan or drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Severely drunk, like just unrecognizably drunk. Okay, moving on. The IWW
Today.
to dizzle. In the words of our most chief executive, the high priest Snoop D-O-double-G. Sorry, that was stupid. I apologize for subjecting you to that. You deserve better. We all deserve better. The IWW has seen rapid growth since 1912. Since 2012, particularly since 2017. The union's U.S. membership numbers as of 2012, last year, were at the highest they had been since the 40s. Many of the union's campaigns were underground and are not known outside of the union spaces. Citation needed. I'm not supposed to read that. The contemporary IWW has, however, been involved in several high-profile bouts with employers and have been part of organizing large-scale actions in more recent years. Although the IWW still organizes in every sector of employment, they have enjoyed the most success among education and food service workers. Trisha, please take this over because I'm making a mockery of Rob's baby here.
Oh my God. For example, the IWW waged an organizing campaign at Chicago Lake Liquors in Minneapolis, Minnesota in 2013. The store, which advertises itself as the highest volume liquor store in Minnesota, had a wage cap of $10.50 per hour, but in the face of IWW demands for the wage cap to be lifted, store management fired 5 organizers. On April 6th, the Twin Cities branch of the union responded with a picket around the store, informing customers of the situation. This was followed by a second picket on May 4th, a day which customarily had heavy business at the store. The union claimed to have made, and I quote, what should have been an extremely busy Saturday into a quiet afternoon inside the store, end quote. After several months, the National Labor Relations Board announced that it found merit in the union's unfair dismissal complaint. As a result, the union and store management agreed to a $32,000 settlement as a form of compensation to the fired workers, and the campaign officially ended. Workers at the Paulo Freire Social Justice Charter School in Holyoke, Massachusetts, were organized with the IWW in 2015, hoping to address the authoritarian leadership of the school administration and perceived racial bias in hiring.
Let me ask you something real quick. Is that Holyoke or is that Holyoke?
That's a good question. I assumed Holyoke.
Okay.
It could be Holyoke. I don't fucking know. I'm not from Massachusetts.
I don't speak that.
I'm not sure. But then again, somebody from Massachusetts probably would not know how to pronounce DeKinder if they saw that street sign. So it'd be like, what, DeQuindry?
DeQuindry.
But, every area has its own language roots as far as how shit was named. So you never fucking know, man.
Arsenic.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. On September 14th, 2015, after a year-long organizing campaign, workers at Soundstage Production in North Haven, Connecticut, declared their membership on the IWW. Or in the IWW, my bad. Within a week, they were threatened with legal action and fired. After several months of negotiation through the National Labor Relations Board, a settlement was reached and the workers agreed to pay back, or to back pay, my bad, again, and severance compensation. As part of the campaign, the workers formed the Production Services Collective and continue as a workers' cooperative and organizing with IWWCT, IWW Connecticut. Yeah. The IWW announced the Burgerville Workers Union in April 2016, which focuses on workers at the Oregon regional fast food chain Burgerville. A subsidiary of the IWW, the BVWU went public on April 26th at a rally of workers and supporters outside of Portland, Oregon, Burgerville location. Upon going public, the BVWU was endorsed by a number of local Oregon community organizations, including union locals, the Portland Solidarity Network, and food and racial justice organizations. It was also endorsed by then Democratic presidential candidate Senator Bernie Sanders.
Is that the time the bird landed on him? Or landed on the podium and he was talking to it? He's such a cute old man.
He really is.
He is.
Man, that was like
I don't have
a fairy tale moment.
I don't have a grandpa on my dad's side, and I like to think that Bernie Sanders was my illegitimate grandfather on my dad's side.
I understand.
Yeah.
Bernie Sanders.
That's not
the
to say
senator that we all need.
That's not to say that my dad is the product of immaculate conception. I'm sure there are parents there. I've just never met them. Anyway.
Indeed. And I still think he should have remained independent. But anyway. The union received pushback with a letter from Burgerville's CEO, Jeff Harvey, being distributed to workers, discouraging them from joining the union. In June 2017, Burgerville paid a settlement of $10,000. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
After an investigation by Oregon Bureau of Labor and Industries, which found the company had violated state-mandated break periods for workers. You stupid fucks. How do you violate something that simple? In April and May 2018, the IWW won NLRB elections in 2 Burgerville locations. Burgerville! Never been there. I was stationed in Washington State. We didn't have Burgerville. We had like Baskin Robbins or some shit. I don't remember. I didn't really leave the post. I just drank. The IWW has also been organizing workers during COVID-19 pandemic in the United States, which we're still going through, by the way. Michigan just topped out over 800,000 cases the other day and like 98,000 deaths or some crazy shit like that. Guys, get the vaccine. I'm gonna take this second to go on this tangent. Get the vaccine. Don't get half the dose and stop. Go get the whole vaccine. States are starting to send their vaccines back because they think that people are not interested in saving their own fucking lives. Get the fucking vaccine. Anyway, well, if you'd like to take back over.
Sure.
Sorry.
Take fire.
Yeah,
there you go.
Got a little heated. I'm sorry for raising my voice.
Smoke them if you got them. With the May 2020 establishment of the Voodoo Donut Workers Union in Portland, Oregon, according to Al Jazeera, quote, the newly formed union delivered a letter to management announcing the formation of a union and demanding higher wages, safety improvements, and severance packages for employees laid off because of the coronavirus and Oregon's ongoing shelter-in-place order, end quote. The article said this is considered a deviation from the more traditional union tactics and may serve as a blueprint for how workers respond to COVID-19 related issues on the job. In February of 2021, after months of organizing, DWU workers officially filed for union certification election with the National Labor Relations Board. The IWW also publicly announced the second staff, known as 2S, Workers Union in May 2020 at the Faison School, a private school serving students on the autism spectrum in Richmond, Virginia, in response to what the union called reckless endangerment of staff and students in trying to force the school to open back up too soon. March 2021 saw a rash of organizing with the IWW. On March 9th, workers at Moe's Books Moe's Books, an independent used bookstore in San Francisco, announced that they received voluntary recognition from Moe's Books management, officially unionizing with the IWW. Shortly after, on March 13th, the IWW announced that it was organizing workers at the Socialist Rifle Association. Fuck yes. And my drink's gone. Damn it. The union was voluntarily recognized by the SRA the following day. 2 days later, on March 16th, staff at the Ohio Valley Environmental Coalition, or OVEC, announced their intent to unionize with the IWW and requested voluntary recognition from management. In organizing, the OVEC workers seek to gain, and I quote, a standardized pay scale and equitable discipline policy, and the right to union representation at any meeting wherein matters affecting staff pay, hours, benefits, advancements, or layoffs may be discussed or voted on, end quote.
To just catch you guys up in the comments, people have jobs. Trisha lives in a van by the river, and I'm on disability. We don't have jobs. So Dean and Rob are busy.
Yep, they're both working. As is Sterling.
We're
okay.
We're some hippies. We can handle
smoke weed
it.
And
this was fun, wasn't it, guys?
Yes, this was fun.
Like, you had fun. I had
Indeed.
fun. Trisha had fun.
If you want to check out the resources, we're going to put those in the comments of where we got, all the good info for tonight's sesh.
Although Natalie and everybody else asking about Dean and Rob and them, I do miss their voices. Right? I do. It makes me sad on the inside.
Me especially.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't get to see anybody Monday because my head was blasted.
Yeah.
It sucked.
And Dean's got that low tone and that nice timbre to his voice. And just honestly, everything he says, I completely trust because he looks like he has seen the internet at least twice.
The entire internet.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I should have.
Including the dark web.
All of
where
it.
You can find For We Are Many dildos and dongs. Lube.
Oh, I didn't know we were moving into that.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember you need the Tor browser. I did know about the For We Are Many butt plugs.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're expanding the toy line.
As always, you can sign in on your Tor browser, get onto the dark web, the For We Are Many dark web page, and you will find Don Hughes's patented Dirty Mountain Shy, guaranteed to max your deadlift at least 9,000 pounds above what you can deadlift right now. It's not really impressive at this point anymore. Like, everybody's deadlifting 9,000 pounds. The other day, deadlifted my mom's Jeep just for the fun of it. I think somebody ran over a quarter.
Man. Like, when you came to help me move into the new RV, you damn near deadlifted that motherfucker up off the ground.
It was like it was nothing. Somebody parked on a quarter, and I was like, man, I need money.
Right.
So, anyway. Our Patreon's live. Elon, baby, listen. I will not stop sending you the pictures. We both know this. We both know what it's about. I just need to keep reminding you. Jeff, Elon, the videos, the 3 a.m. drunk calls, the standing outside your homes in the bushes in a Deadpool costume next to Ryan Reynolds, also in a Deadpool costume. Shout out to Ryan. I know you're watching, bud. Love Canada. Love you. You're my spirit animal. The 8-track cassette tapes, the vinyl records, it'll all stop. All you got to do is go to patreon.com/4wearemany. Scroll all the way down to the bottom. You'll see these ungodly prices that to you guys, I mean, is just a drop in the bucket. Just a drop in the bucket. You won't even miss $500,000. You won't even know. You make it back before you even know. By the time you hit deposit, you'll make that money back. Elon, You want people to be able to afford to go to Mars without being your indentured servants? I mean, this is a good way to do it.
It is indeed. And while granted, the busting of your balls is still definitely not going to stop, even if you become one of our patrons.
Yeah, and the pictures aren't going to stop either.
But we will ease it gently by calling you sweetheart first.
I'll even take you out to dinner. How about that? I sprayed Sprite all over my face, and I'm just going with it.
It's fitting.
Anyway.
We love you guys. Thank you for joining us for this.
Remember to check us out. I know I'm not screen sharing. Remember to check us out on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and forwearemany.org. On all of them, it is For We Are Many podcast, For We Are Many support group. You know how to find us. I know it's not Sprite, Emily. I know it's cheap wannabe Burger King 7-Up. But listen, mind over matter, okay? Emily is sharing something, and I just realized that I don't know how to
view that.
to say Emily's last name. Her and
Kashner?
Robert are gonna kill me. Anyway, look at all this. Look at all this stuff. She's pointing at all of it. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Current events stream. I don't think this is the current events stream. Oh, it's coming up on April 29th. Yeah. The stream has ended. We'll see you on Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern DT. I don't know what that is. EDT.
Eastern Daylight Time.
I'm so dumb. Listen, I'm cute, okay? I have a decent jawline, decently close to the head ears, a big head. I don't need to be smart all the time.
Your face is symmetrical.
My face is very symmetrical. It's weirdly symmetrical. I think I'm an alien. Don't say that, aliens. Don. Don't say that, Don.